Listen Live link is in the top right corner. You can also stream the show on YouTube. The channel is Nation of Jake. Run that bad boy all together, no spaces, Nation of Jake there, and subscribe on YouTube. Tell your friends to subscribe, and that way I'll be a YouTube star and you can say I knew him way back when. You can also follow me on Facebook at Nation of Jake, as well as the Twitter, same handle, Nation of Jake, wherever you go on the internet and social media. That's where you will find me. On this Tuesday, September 24th, year of our Lord 2019, mostly sunny, 83 degrees, high of 87. And I got bad news for you. See, I thought with yesterday being the first day of fall, the temperatures would also fall. And outside of a couple of days where we'll get some cloud cover and some rain, it's going to get hot again. I was looking at the extended forecast. It's just going to heat back up to like 97 next week. And I'm like, no, that's awful news. That's not hoodie weather. I want to put on more clothes. I'm sick of having to take off my clothes. Ladies around here get to looking at me and ask me to flex my arms. And I'm shy. I'm an introvert, okay? I don't need that kind of attention around here. So I don't know about you, but last night I sat down and watched the debut of Bluff City Law. I gave it a fair shot. I'll give you my review coming up. And before I get into it, I do want everybody to know, I hope the show gets picked up and is on TV as long as Law & Order is on. I hope it gets picked up and it's on as long as The Simpsons has been on TV. I hope it has a great run, but we will break it down. I'll give you my review coming up in just a little bit. Also, a quick rundown of the shenanigans in Germantown, east of here, where I grew up. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen, the meeting got out of hand last night. You look at local government and you assume that people can conduct themselves like adults. Well, last night they were voting on whether or not to censure one of the aldermen because he decided he didn't want to take the cybersecurity webinar. And no matter what side you're on in this goofy debate, number one, it just seems like a really weird hill to die on. There's an Alderman Massey out there in Germantown. He's like, no, I'm not taking the cybersecurity webinar. I'm not going to do it. And you can't make me. And just the way these people interact, they all need to be voted out of office. I was talking to Wolfman about that this morning, and I've got some audio from that meeting. See, it seems like it would be just a kind of a boring kind of deal, being alderman in a place like Germantown, but it gets quite exciting, actually. We've also got more from the UN Assembly, the reaction to Miss Greta Thunberg's impassioned speech yesterday. That was all over the internet. Yeah, the 16-year-old girl, she gets to fly around the world or get on $1 million yacht and sail across the world and tell everybody that they need to take better care of the planet, and she gets to disrespectfully address adults. Sounds like a dream for a 16-year-old. Somebody's going to essentially pay me, put me up in hotels, let me sail around the world yelling at adults. That sounds fun. Sign me up for that. We get my time machine going, get back to 1995 when I was 16 years old, and then give me that job. That's the job I want. But as I outlined yesterday, you cannot attack children. And I was very careful. I criticized those who made it possible for this 16-year-old to be in the position she's in. But not everybody was as delicate as I was. And now people are in trouble for what? Mocking a child. And that's really the game. That's why people use children to further their agendas, whether it was the Parkland kids who came out. You had all these gun control activists hiding behind David Hogg. And now you've got all these climate activists hiding behind Greta Thunberg, right? So you've got to be careful about that. And Scott Adams, you know who Scott Adams is? Scott Adams used to write Dilbert, the old cartoon. He's a pretty smart guy, and he wrote like an open letter to the children of the world about climate change. And I thought it was pretty good. We'll get into that in just a little bit as well. And we got the news crews, bunch of other stuff. But the word of the hour is impeachment. And that's right, impeachment. It's coming. This afternoon at, I guess, 3, like right as this program winds down and right as Earl Farrell's show will heat up, Nancy Pelosi is calling a meeting about impeachment. And it's looking more and more likely that they will initiate impeachment proceedings against President Donald Trump. And I guess this Ukrainian phone call, this whistleblower situation, is the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, to be sure, Democrats have been talking about impeaching Donald Trump since before he was sworn in. When he won on Election Day in 2016, there were already motions to impeach the man, or at least a lot of talk about impeaching Trump. And they've been talking about it now, whether it was hush money payments, Michael Flynn, Michael Cohen, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, the Mueller investigation, Russia, Vlad Putin, collusion, obstruction, whatever it was, they were saying, oh yes, impeachable offense. Like everything has been an impeachable offense. Well, the latest is this claim from a whistleblower, as we went over yesterday, this whistleblower complaint filed with the Inspector General, a whistleblower who has no direct knowledge of the phone call that the whistleblower claims Donald Trump threatened to withhold funds to have Joe Biden investigated by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. All right, and it says here from the AP, President Donald Trump ordered his staff to freeze nearly $400 million in aid to Ukraine a few days before a phone call in which he pressured the Eastern European nation's leader to investigate the family of political rival Joe Biden. That is a revelation that comes as more Democrats move toward impeachment proceedings. It assumes a lot, doesn't it? I mean, we don't have the information. We haven't seen the whistleblower complaint. We don't have the transcript of the telephone call. We know that there were multiple people on this telephone call. To get a transcript of it, they had to have people transcribing it, and none of the people transcribing it came forward, but somebody heard something, and now they're blowing the whistle on this. And they're claiming that there was a quid pro quo. Donald Trump would not give money to the Ukraine unless they did what he wanted, which sounds a lot like what Joe Biden is accused of. And we heard from Joe Biden's mouth. The man himself talked about $1 billion that was supposed to go to the Ukraine, and they weren't going to get it unless they fired a prosecutor, somebody who was looking into a company on which Hunter Biden, son of Joe, and known cocaine user, was on the board, right? Trump, in remarks to reporters at the United Nations on Tuesday, confirmed that he held up the aid, but said he did so to fight corruption and urged European nations to share in helping out Ukraine. As far as withholding funds, those funds were paid, Trump said. They were fully paid, but my complaint has always been, and I'd withhold again, and I'll continue to withhold until such time as Europe and other nations contribute to Ukraine. He named Germany and France as among the countries that should put up money. He also used the moment to again suggest the Biden family inappropriately benefited from their ties to Ukraine. Trump's order was first reported by the Washington Post and was confirmed to the Associated Press by two people familiar with but not authorized to discuss private conversations. They spoke on condition of anonymity. Hey, more of these anonymous sources, right? Anonymous sources. Now again, look, did Donald Trump act inappropriately? Was there a quid pro quo? Did he meddle in a future election trying to get some sort of political opponent investigated by a foreign regime? Maybe, but we don't know. We don't have the transcript. We don't have anybody going on record. We got two anonymous sources, and we got a whistleblower who has not been identified, and this whistleblower has no direct knowledge of the situation. However, I think that Democrats are getting a little bit squirrely, a little bit squeaky, and they are freaking out a little bit. Because I think they're looking at their internal polling, and they're looking at approval ratings, and they're looking at all their Democrat presidential candidates, and they don't see one of them that can beat Donald Trump in 2020. I don't think they do. I think their best bet is Joe Biden, and he's been imploding. And this whole stuff about he and his son Hunter and Ukraine and China and the corruption does not help. So, there's like 170 now Democrats in the 235-member caucus who are all about some impeachment. Now, Nancy Pelosi is going to call a meeting today, and she is expected to initiate impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump. And this is something that she has been reluctant to do. She does not want to impeach Donald Trump. She herself. She knows how divisive it can be. She knows that if you come at the king, you best not miss. And you're not going to get him convicted of anything with the Republican Senate. And she knows this is a losing hand. But she's feeling the pressure and feeling the pressure. And also, there's not a huge call to impeach Donald Trump from the American people. I think at the highest it was 43%. It's down to 37%. And I don't know if this stuff with the Ukraine, as muddled as it is, this is going to put any more people in a position where they want to impeach Trump, where they have to do it. I mean, you've got to have people, you've got to have numbers like 60% or 70% of people, not just Democrats, of voters who want to see the president impeached. Tulsi Gabbard, who was running for president, she's like, no, I'm against impeaching Donald Trump over this because it's divisive and it could put you in a worse position. Think about this. If they impeach Donald Trump and they're unable to convict Donald Trump and remove him from office in an impeachment trial, you're going to rile up that base. A lot of independents, they're not going to like that you tried and failed. And you might be looking at Donald Trump getting reelected plus supermajorities in the Senate and the House. It could backfire. This is a high-risk move. It will not stop them, though. They, you know what, I guess what they can say is they can placate their base, say, hey, we tried, we did what we could, but then again, these total anti-Trump people are like, what do you mean you did what you could? This is life and death to us. We worship the government. You have to remove him. And it's starting to make me believe that Democrats are not dealing well with the results of the 2016 election. That's what it leads me to believe. People freaking out about this stuff. And again, what's wrong with waiting for the transcript to be released? You can't get the transcript. I guess the White House won't release it, or maybe they will. I mean, Donald Trump, he swears up and down everything was on the up and up. There was no quid pro quo. The Ukrainian president says there was no quid pro quo. It doesn't always have to be. You can always, when you bring up something on a call, how you bring it up, you don't always have to come out and say it. I mean, maybe it was implicit. But when you're reading a transcript, that's way different than listening in on a phone call, isn't it? I mean, so much is derived from tone. I mean, do they transcribe tone? I mean, isn't that kind of in the eye of the listener, the transcriber? I mean, wouldn't they have to make a note? He said this kind of sarcastically, but that was your takeaway. Words on a page read very different than the spoken word, as you well know. I mean, tone can say everything. So I don't know. They're gonna expedite their investigation, or they may, depending on what happens in this meeting coming up at 3. And we'll get more information there. I mean, you've got the hardcore anti-Trump people, the squad and whatnot, the John Lewises, they're all about impeaching, the Sheila Jackson Lee, impeachment. But there are a lot of Democrat representatives in both the House and the Senate, senators, who are in the middle on this. They're like, hold on, we live in purple states, and we can go either way. We live in these toss-up states. We live, and we're running for seats where Donald Trump carried the state. So we're vulnerable. And you're going to go and impeach the guy and really rile up his base. And if you're unable to remove him from office, which they will be unable to remove him from office, this is going to be fun to watch, y'all. This is I don't think it's good for the country at all. That said, from somebody who observes news and talks about it daily, this is high drama stuff. So look for at 3:00. We'll watch. I mean, things are going to leak out. I'm almost certain that Nancy Pelosi has felt the pressure and the dam is broken, and she, even against her own wishes, is going to launch an impeachment inquiry. And that might be about as far as it goes. They just have to make people think that they're doing what they want them to do. The far left, they're screaming about it. You have to do something, impeach him. And it can go one of 3 ways. They could impeach, but not remove. They could impeach and remove, or they could just fold and do nothing, which I'm not sure what the worst possible outcome is. It might be to fold and do nothing for them. Now, if they can impeach him and get him out of office, well, that's a big win for the Democrats. But in 2020, you still got to win an election. So we shall see. That is the latest. All right, coming up in a little bit, some fun and shenanigans out in Germantown. I got some audio from that. But coming up next, I got my review of the debut of Bluff City Law, which aired on NBC last night. I'll tell you what I thought about it and what my high hopes for it, because I do hope that this is around for a long time. So Bluff City Law Talk up next, right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
For baby boomers, here's something to think about. Will you have enough income during your retirement? Are you absolutely sure? Do you understand the difference between growth and income? How about bonds and bond funds? Are you 100% ready for RMDs? Do you have an estate plan? If you've said no to any of these, we can help. Right now, log on to theretirementincomeDoctor.com and tune in our brand new radio show right here, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.
When's the last time you looked at the windows in your house? Not through the windows, but at the windows. Really looked at them. There's dirt, streaks, buildup, smudges, fingerprints, paw prints, spider webs, dead bugs. There's little white speckles. I have no idea what they are, and who knows what else. Now, cleaning all the windows in your house makes a big difference, but it's also a big job. That's why you need Just Windows Home Services. Just Windows has been taking the pain out of window cleaning since 1992. Just Windows cleans all types of windows, storm windows, screens, skylights, interior, exterior, upstairs and down. Now, I know I told you the company is called Just Windows Home Services, but they do a lot more. Roof and gutter cleaning, pressure washing, mirrors, blinds, ceiling fans, light fixtures, chandeliers. Look, if you've got hard to reach areas of the house, then you need Just Windows Home Services. Call for a free estimate, 751-3934. That's 751-3934, or get them online at justwindowsmemphis.com. That's justwindowsmemphis.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Dan Groban and Phil Menard at Servant Advisors Group call this mailbox money. It's the monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They want to help remove stress from your retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Servant Advisors Group at 855-260-1000 for a complimentary retirement analysis with strategies that could help your nest egg provide you monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call right now, 855-260-1000. Servant Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Servant Advisors Group, LLC. Insurance licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and in Arkansas.
Hey, are you pregnant and need health insurance?
Yes, I'm really in need of insurance.
Have you heard of the TennCare Presumptive Prenatal Program?
No, what is that?
It's a program where pregnant women can get 62 days of temporary Medicaid insurance coverage.
Wow, I didn't know about that. Thanks.
For more information regarding the TennCare Presumptive Prenatal Program, contact the Shelby County Health Department at 901-545-8722 or log on to shelbytnhealth.com. Funding for this was provided by the Tennessee Department of Health.
At your age, you should know better. The Best Times helps you make better decisions that affect all areas of your life. Whether you're looking for the best place to move to in retirement, a new car, auto repair, entertainment, how to save money on medications, latest safety devices, home medical options, or financial advice, you will find all that and more when you pick up your free copy of The Best Times at one of over 250 locations throughout the Mid-South. The Best Times, the source of quality information for mature Mid-Southerners for over 33 years.
Tune in every Saturday from 3:05 to 5 o'clock to listen to the IBEW Labor Agenda radio show. I'm Rick Thompson.
And I'm Pat Epps.
I'm Bill Hawkins.
A program where issues affecting all working men and women are discussed.
Issues including MLGW, the City of Memphis, Shelby County, and state and federal governments, and smart meters that can't and won't work.
Issues surrounding how the fat cats keep all of us divided by race and class in order to continue their agenda of dividing and conquering while working men and women struggle on a daily basis.
Tune in every Saturday and listen to the IBEW Labor Agenda radio program. program.
Triumph Bank strives to make banking easy for our customers. You have a lot of choices when it comes to banks, so we invite you to visit one of our local offices in Memphis, Germantown, Collierville, and Arlington to see for yourself how our team, backed by our state-of-the-art online and mobile services, can simplify banking for you and your business. Triumph Bank, invested in our communities and making banking easy for you. Triumph is a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. TriumphBank.com. Let's talk growth.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. Streaming live on the YouTube. The YouTube channel is Nation of Jake. Also on Facebook and Twitter, at Nation of Jake. A little breaking news here. As I scroll through Twitter, a tweet from President Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump, if you haven't heard about his Twitter account. Tweet from the president: I am currently at the United Nations representing our country, but have authorized the release tomorrow of the complete, fully declassified and unredacted transcript of my phone conversation with President Zelensky of Ukraine. You will see it was a very friendly and totally appropriate call, no pressure, and unlike Joe Biden and his son, no quid pro quo. This is nothing more than a continuation of the greatest and most destructive witch hunt of all time. So, nothing like taking out Nancy Pelosi's legs out from under her as she prepares a speech, and I guess she's making some sort of statement on the possibility of impeachment. She's calling a full caucus meeting less than 2 hours from now about the possibility of impeaching Donald Trump. And there are many, many more calls. More and more of the Democratic caucus are on board with impeaching Trump over this call to the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky. Well, they're going to release the transcript tomorrow. And people say, the transcript will be doctored. There's no way Trump is on the up and up. There's no way. Well, we'll see, right? It's funny. You bait them in, don't give them what they want, have them commit, extend themselves, and then release the transcript. See, there's nothing there, and they look like idiots. I mean, that's exactly what how the game is played, man. It's politics. Wait and wait and wait. Timing is everything. I mean, it'd be nice if all these politicians put everything on the table and everything's transparent, everything's great, and nobody suspects anything. But when does that ever happen? Never. Never. All right, so last night, I tuned into NBC at 9 o'clock. I got there a little bit early, actually. I saw the end of The Voice, and then I saw the debut of Bluff City Law, the new legal drama, which takes place here in Memphis. And I'll say this about it. Memphis looks great on camera. You drive around Memphis, you got some fantastic scenery, landscapes, and they look good on TV, especially a high-dollar professional production like an NBC legal drama. This is their 9 o'clock Monday slot. All right, so I had no doubt that the production quality was going to be great. You've got pros working on this show. This isn't some rinky-dink operation done by film students. I mean, I knew that. Great shots of the city, a lot downtown, where all the courthouses are. They doubled the MLGW building as the Memphis Police Department. I guess they needed an establishing shot of that, and they had that. Rum Boogie Cafe was there at the end. Some good stuff going on as far as, aesthetically. It looked great. Memphis looked great on the show. Outside of that, it's pretty much what I thought it was going to be. Brought up yesterday that it's probably going to be a cookie-cutter legal drama with a well-worn story, and I was hoping to see something new. That said, it was the pilot. But the pilot episode, being the first one, was straight out of John Grisham's The Rainmaker. It had a guy, he got sick. A big company was supposedly liable for his illness. And then there's a predictable and big judgment for the plaintiff in the case, if that's a plaintiff, the complainant. The guy who got sick because of the chemicals, he got paid. Big old settlement. It was straight out of the whole great benefit Donnie Black thing in The Rainmaker. So you might be saying, but Jake, give it some time. It's just the pilot. They have to cover so much in a pilot episode. They have to introduce you to all the characters and establish the dynamics between the characters and then give you somewhat of a story. There was just too much going on, and it just kind of felt like an episode of Scooby-Doo. It was like, oh, we found this clue, Jinkies. All right, now let's move on just to advance the plot. You might say, hey, give it some time. It might get better, but the problem with that line of thinking on a TV show, this being Bluff City Law, is first impressions mean everything. We're from Memphis. We're in Memphis. We love Memphis. It's our home. Of course, we're going to give it a little bit longer a leash. We are going to watch it for a few weeks. We might watch it for 3-4 episodes. And if we develop, some sort of feeling for the characters, if we like Sydney Strait, and if we like Elijah Strait, Jimmy Smits and Caitlin McGee, if we like these characters, we'll hang out with them for an hour a week. It's not too much to ask, but the first impressions of the show is that it was a little bit pedestrian. You have to ask yourself a question, and you have to be really honest with yourself. When you watch the show, did you like it for the show, or did you like it because it was set in Memphis? Would you watch the show? Let's say if it were not called Bluff City Law. Let's say they came out with a legal drama called Emerald City Law, and it was based in Seattle. Would you still watch it? Would you watch Gateway City Law about St. Louis, Missouri? Would you watch Queen City Law if it took place, say, in Cincy? Same cast, same story, because the storyline was not specific to Memphis. That's just it. This could have been in any city. The only thing Memphis about this show was that it was set in Memphis, was that it was shot here, and that it takes place here. And I don't know what Jimmy Smits was doing with his voice. He was trying some sort of Southern accent. He would dip in and out of it. The best thing to do there is just not have an accent. I'm from Memphis. I was born and raised here. I was born here, moved away when I was 3, but I moved to places like Atlanta and Mobile and Shreveport, and I was back by the time I was 8. And I lived from 8 to age 25 right here in Memphis, and I sound the way I sound. I've always sounded like this. So I don't have a discernible accent. Many Memphians do not. So I don't know why Jimmy Smits is doing some sort of affected Southern accent. There's no need for all that. No need whatsoever. And I will say this, though. If I'm producing this show, let's say I'm Dick Wolf. I'm the new Dick Wolf. I'm going to say, what we could do is we could take Jimmy Smits and let's say keep him as his L.A. law character, Victor Cifuentes. All right, and then you've got a story. Then you've got how did he go from the 80s practicing law in L.A. to ending up in Memphis? Well, give me that backstory. Inject that right into my veins. Have Corbin Burnson as Arnie Becker show up. Even that guy who was mentally challenged, the old Benny. I guess you can't do that anymore. You can't play somebody who's mentally disabled if you're not yourself. Well, you remember when Bryan Cranston tried to play a quadriplegic, and everybody's like, why couldn't they find a quadriplegic actor? This is no good. So, the L.A. law crossover would have been good. I hope they get a little bit more creative with the stories. And I have high hopes for it. I hope it's good. I hope the people here in Memphis, Memphians who worked on the show, I hope they've got work for a long time to come. But I hope they maybe incorporate, they could rip right from the headlines. And I'm not saying, get into the minutia of what goes on in Memphis, what we care about, but they could adapt these stories to be mass appeal for the whole country. Martavius Banks. He was shot multiple times by MPD, and now he's suing the city. The whole body cameras thing, that's really relevant. That's something I would expect to see on Bluff City Law. How about that MLGW worker? How about the guy who worked for MLGW and was fired because he went out to the Take 'em Down Confederate monument rallies and he gave his opinion, and then the outrage mob tracked him down on Facebook and complained, and he got fired, and then he won that big case a big First Amendment case like that originated right out of Memphis, I would love to see that adapted for Bluff City law. That'd be a compelling story. I kind of have a mix between the character-driven drama and the straight from the headlines kind of stuff. How about the TVA and the aquifer and the coal ash that's threatening with arsenic the Memphis Sands aquifer? Well, I mean, that's real stuff that's going on in our community that could easily be adapted to be compelling TV stories, and maybe they will. I don't know if the Tom Lee Park redesign is going to find its way. I don't know if instant runoff voting in the city council. I don't think that any of the $40,000 that disappeared and was given to the Carter Malone group for really terrible commercials about the referenda on the ballot back in 2018. I don't think that's going to be part of Bluff City law stories, and they shouldn't. About the juvenile court stuff, the discrepancies and disparities in juvenile court. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could take straight from the headlines here with the Daily Memphian or with the CA or with any number of the local news stations. You could take all these stories, and you have a kid getting catfished and murdered up in Fraser. That is ripe for a legal drama. You could use those as a starting point for all this stuff, and I hope they do. I hope they don't just stop with the tired old cliche stuff. She's a hard-nosed lawyer who plays by her own rules. Oh, but he's wise and experienced. Oh, and it's kind of meh. So, but still, I hope it gets better because it looked great. It really did. I think that's a fair review of the show. Look, I'm known as being more of a critic and a hater, and people on Twitter going, just let people enjoy things, man. It's like, look, if you can't handle some criticism of your programs on the Twitter, then why are you even tweeting about it? Like, that's the whole point with the old Twitter. So I would have liked to have seen something new. I didn't see anything new. But I didn't see anything that was embarrassing, a little corny here and there. I saw something that was derivative, is what I saw. And we'll get Earl Farrell in here toward the end of the program to see what he thought. Because these shows are made for guys like Earl. Guys who still watch their programs as a bridge to the late local news. I'm really not interested in the late local news. It comes off as an SNL skit sometimes, which is worth watching sometimes, but I'm not going to sit there and watch a third hour of TV in order to get to the fourth hour being the local news. But Earl might have a different perspective. He might have an insider's perspective. He's the kind of guy who gets invited to red carpets to watch these things. I'm the kind of guy who gets ignored. Your least influential Memphian is on the air here on The Voice. All right, coming up in a little bit, we've got an open letter to children regarding climate change from our man Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. Also, a scene at a Burger King where a guy committed a horrible act of violence and overreacted, but I kind of relate to this guy, and I think you might too. But coming up next, some shenanigans at the Germantown Board of Aldermen. Yeah, you think those guys wouldn't have much to talk about, but they got plenty, and this all comes down to some webinar for cybersecurity and a guy who just doesn't want to do it. It's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
CBS News Update. President Trump has tweeted that he has authorized the release of tomorrow of the complete, fully declassified, unredacted transcript of that phone conversation with the president of Ukraine. The same conversation that led to a whistleblower complaint and allegations that he tried to pressure the Ukrainian leader to investigate the Bidens by withholding U.S. military aid. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, meantime, expected to announce this afternoon that a formal impeachment inquiry will begin.
I'm Bill Rakoff on Capitol Hill. President Trump's admission that he spoke to Ukraine's leader has not only fueled the fire of Democrats calling for impeachment, but it's bringing some formerly reluctant lawmakers into that impeachment camp. Notable among them, Connecticut Representative Rosa DeLauro. She says in a statement that while she's rejected previous calls for impeachment, the actions of the president with regard to Ukraine in the 2020 election are what she calls a turning point.
The president says impeachment talk is just part of the continuing witch hunt. CBS News Update. I'm Jim Shenlevy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jack Hanna. Since I was a boy, I've been fascinated with animals, especially their tireless work ethic. Just look at birds who gather supplies to build nests, or penguins who travel up to 500 miles to secure food for their families. This work ethic is shared by our best friends, canines who perform life-saving work every day. Dogs comfort returning veterans. They work with diabetics, alerting them when there's a change in their blood chemistry. Working dogs are valuable in many ways. So please join me and American Humane in supporting our heroic working dogs. Go to AmericanHumane.org to learn more.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Marie Pisano of the Finding My Yes radio show. We got a new talk show that interviews celebrities in film, music, TV, and some interesting people from Memphis to around the world. We even feature some music from emerging artists. Don't miss us Sundays at 4 p.m. right here on The Voice FM 107.9 and AM 990. Brought to you by ECT Go Heroic.
If you're in need of a professional cleaning service that takes your business as seriously as you do, call Jan Pro Cleaning Systems today. They understand how important it is to establish and maintain a professional image. That's why they offer the Jan Pro Signature Clean and the Jan Pro Guarantee. From regular scheduled cleaning to the tough stuff like stripping and waxing, buffing, carpet extractions, and detail cleaning, Jan Pro does it all. Call today for a free no-obligation quote. 901-683-4900. Insured and bonded for your protection. Jan Pro Cleaning Systems. Measurable cleaning, guaranteed results.
This is Clark Howard. When you're looking for a vehicle to buy new, one of the factors that really matters is what's that vehicle worth used down the road? Because your ultimate cost of ownership, in addition to fuel and insurance, maintenance, is the loss in value from when you buy it to when you sell it. Well, J.D. Power puts out a list each year of the vehicles by category, by size, that are the ones that hold their value the best. And as far as brands overall, Honda and Toyota hold value better than anybody else. But it depends on the size of vehicle where you end up. As an example, when you look at large SUVs, it's the Chevy Tahoe, the GMC Yukon, Toyota Sequoia that hold their value the best. When you look at pickup trucks, the Toyota Tacoma. So I've got the full list for you at Clark.com so you can check out what is best.
I'm pretty handy around the house, but now that I have kids, I don't want to spend my Saturday installing a toilet or fixing an air conditioner. But thankfully, there's Home Advisor. Home Advisor helps me find the best home pros in my area to handle any kind of project. You can read reviews of the pros, check their availability, and even book appointments online. And what my wife loves most is that Home Advisor is completely free to use.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app to get started.
Home Advisor. Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest-growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, Uverse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
It's the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAM, thevoice.com, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram at Nation of Jake. Okay, so out east, where I live, in Germantown, there's all this drama over the board of mayor and aldermen. You know, usually that kind of stuff's boring. Like, you know, you don't really care what's going on. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to the minutia. Luckily for me, though, my man Wolfman. Yeah, the Wolfman is all over this stuff. And we hold court some mornings and afternoons as our kids are going to school. And he kind of keeps me informed of what's going on. And then I'll go and research these things. The latest dust-up out in Germantown is about this Alderman Dean Massey, who seems to have some pretty decent ideas. You know, I agree with him on the issues a lot of the time, but he's got a reputation as being a loose cannon. I mean, he's the kind of guy who is going to make mountains out of molehills. Look, we all have to do stuff for our jobs we don't want to do. We don't want to go to the meetings. We don't want to go to the webinars. We don't want to complete the training. We don't want to do this stuff. But you know what we do? we log on a computer and we let the webinar go, and we half pay attention. We answer the questions or whatever. We have somebody else do it for us. You just get it done. All right, this is just a compliance thing. Being in radio, you're always having to take some sort of training. Like, what's the difference between something that's obscene and something that's indecent? Something that's profane, that kind of stuff. FCC, webinars. I worked for a big radio company, and we had webinars all the time. And look, my boss was like, Cookie, I don't care if you understand it. I don't care if you like it. I don't care. Just get it done, because your name comes up on a list as not having done it. And my boss is like, hey, why hasn't this guy done it? And you're making me look stupid. So just get it done. Just get it done. Just do it. Why not? It's going to take you 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it is. So this guy, Dean Massey, just doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do the training. So this has been bubbling up for a couple of weeks. And then they had a meeting last night in which they voted to censure Dean Massey. And the way it was described to me is you've got Dean Massey up there, and he's sitting next to a guy named Forrest Owens, and then to Forrest Owens' right is a guy named Rocky Yanda, whatever his name is. Now, Rocky and Dean do not like each other at all. And so they bring up this resolution to censure Dean Massey for not taking his cybersecurity training. And then Forrest Owens is in the middle just trying to play peacemaker, saying, look, I'll vote for this measure, but I want to amend it. And that way it won't be like a full censure. It'll blunt this a little bit, and we can all kind of get on with it. And so they go around, and this, after a lot of debate, they decide that they are going to vote on the measure, and they need the votes to do it. And then when they think everything is good and everybody's happy, Dean Massey pops up and says, by the way, I want to move to remove the amendment, and I want this to be a full censure that they're going to have to vote on. And it just kind of brings you back to square one. And everybody's like, oh my God, dude, let it die, let it go. We just had an agreement, and now you're screwing it all up. So you've got a lot of egos in the room. You have this resolution that was drafted by Alderman Rocky Yanda, or if I mispronounce your name, Sir Rocky, I'll just call you Rocky. I'm not going to apologize to your family. The resolution said a cybersecurity breach could impact public safety, municipal finances, and private information of Germantown residents, and required Massey to complete the 45-minute training by September 27th. So here's the deal. You got till the end of the week to do this. Massey said at the meeting he was not opposed to the training, but wanted to have it conducted in a public work session, and that he did not believe the task should be mandated for aldermen by city staff. So he's still just like going up to the hill. Like, no, it shouldn't be mandated by the staff. Massey and Alderman Scott Sanders voted against the censure, with Sanders warning his colleagues against setting a dangerous precedent. He says, I'm not opposed to cybersecurity training. What I'm opposed to is this censorship resolution. We don't have a policy that requires it. The Standards of Conduct section of the Germantown Municipal Code largely deals with potential conflicts of interest, misuse of public funds, and sexual harassment. It does not specifically enumerate instances in which an elected official should or could be reprimanded for breaches of moral turpitude or failing to take online training modules. This is tiresome just to even read. Massey also criticized the city administration for allowing an item to be placed on the agenda without putting the resolution in the agenda packet for aldermen and the public to read before the meeting. Look, when you get into any kind of like alderman meeting, city council meeting, all logic goes out the window, and it's all this double speak. Oh, this is not germane to the topic. Oh, this is not germane. Oh, so you got Massey. He's getting into it with Rocky over there, and then Mike Palazzolo and the mayor and Dean Massey are getting into it, and they're calling each other liars, and they're just accusing each other of all this stuff. And it's all over the fact that this guy, Dean Massey, he does not want to take the cybersecurity training. And here's really what it comes down to. This is not about cybersecurity training. All right, this is the fact that Dean Massey, who is probably an okay guy, like, I got nothing against the dude. I've never met the man. But my perception of him is that he's very dramatic. Nothing is just about the issues at hand. It's always like some sort of attack or conspiracy. So everybody's out to get him all the time. All right. And now all the citizens, they get involved. And this is some audio from old YouTube of the meeting in which a citizen goes in and I guess he flips the bird at old Rocky there on the floor of the board of mayor and aldermen. This is where it gets kind of goofy. Let's take a listen here.
What's your point of order?
He's not being germane to the topic.
Thank you. Actually, it's well taken. Are we not talking about an amendment where he wants to take the security training afterward? That is part of the amendment, Okay, correct. so I'm saying he needs to take it before we have a work session. Is that not germane? Well, that is germane. Okay, as usual. Okay, this is the first.
I should rename it Germain Town. Hey, is that Germain? Yeah, Germain. Who's Germain? I thought we were talking about Rocky and Dean and Mike Balzo. There's no Germain. Who's Germain? There's no Alderman Germain. Go on.
First line of responsibility in keeping our citizens and our city safe from hackers. If he had taken it first to begin with, we wouldn't even be here.
Point of order, Mayor.
Amendment.
Point of order, Mayor.
What's your point of order? What's your point of order?
He's not being germane to the topic. I should be allowed to respond.
Thank you. No, there's not responding back and forth. It is part of it. Because you're saying you want to take it afterwards. I think you need to take it first, and this would not have happened if you'd have taken it first to begin with. You know? Gotcha. And I'm not, I realize, we want to try to compromise here. Brian Ulicki made some great points. John Payton shot me the bird, threatened me, and left. Okay?
John Payton shot me the bird, and then he bailed, but not before threatening me. And we still don't know who's Jermaine. We go and here's where the language gets salty.
Oh, I don't think he listened to Brian Ulicki. Okay? I've listened to his crap for years.
Hey, Alderman, please, please
Alderman.
stay in proper decorum.
But stay in proper decorum. We can't have you saying the word crap up here. Oh my God, there are children watching this on YouTube. No, they're not. No, they're not. All right, so that's pretty. It was an ugly meeting. It was and all these people who get up there and they cry and they whine. Dean Massey and Rocky and all these guys, they all need to be voted out of office, and we need adults running things in Germantown and really any town. This goes for the Shelby County Commission. This goes for the Memphis City Council. Just get some adults in there. Hey, let's all get down to business. Don't take things personally. Not everything is attack on you. All right. Sometimes there are things that you should react to, sometimes angrily, sometimes violently. And I think I found one. All right, there's a guy who did something up in New York that was totally out of line. In fact, it's a crime, and the cops are looking for him. But you know what? I don't think there's a jury that's going to convict this guy. This happened at a Burger King. One night in New York. I'm going to give you that story. I'm going to tell you why this guy, he was just driven to do what any rational human would do, and now he's on the run from Johnny Law. That's coming up next right here in the Nation of Jake.
The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, stop. Don't do anything until you talk to my man, James Underwood. James Underwood has been helping people like you navigate the Mid-South real estate market for more than a decade. So whether you're looking to buy your first home or you want to upgrade to your forever home, James Underwood can help make it happen. No gimmicks, no guarantees, just a rock-solid guy that I've known for 25 years. So now, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up James Underwood with CryLike. JamesUnderwood.crylike.com. That's JamesUnderwood.crylike.com.
Betty Lamar invites you to tune in Fridays at 8 a.m. for the Eye on Memphis talk show. Eye on Memphis, wall-to-wall conversations with top doctors, community leaders, and people just like you, focused on the health and everyday human conditions in the Bluff City. Eye on Memphis with Betty Lamar, Fridays, 8 a.m. on KWAM The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. Eye on Memphis, sponsored in part by AM Diabetes and Endocrinology Center.
Tee off to support Memphis Oral School for the Deaf at the 10th Annual MOSD Golf Tournament on Thursday, September 26th at Cherokee Valley Golf Club in Olive Branch. Join us for a hot-off-the-grill barbecue lunch, Hospital Wings exciting helicopter ball drop contest, a full day of golf, and an Outback Steakhouse awards dinner with fantastic prizes. A day of fun for you on the greens, all to help deaf children learn to listen and talk. Register to sponsor or play at mosdkits.org.
The special event florist for the Mid-South is Lynn Doyle Flowers. They are famous for creating incredible floral arrangements and are available to fill even your last-minute needs. From the simple to the magnificent, their staff can create unique arrangements for your special occasion. Flowers always bring a smile, make someone's day, and for fast, convenient delivery, call Lynn Doyle Flowers today at 901-323-4521 or visit their beautiful new location at 6225 Old Poplar Pike.
This is Andy Wise, your consumer investigator, and I belong to the Crescent Club. All my Wise choices gather at the Crescent Club for mixers and private dining. The gourmet menu, top shelf. And happy hour? Hey, if you've never had a cocktail 9 stories high on the patio soaking in the East Memphis skyline, then hear this. I won't entertain my clients anywhere else because I made the wise choice. I belong to the Crescent Club, 6075 Poplar Avenue on top of the Crescent Center.
All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990. All right, so what would you do? Like, look, we're told over and over again that our fossil-fueled cars and our farting cow burgers are going to destroy the earth. So what do you try to do? You try to do the right thing. You try to ride your bike around and maybe eat Impossible burgers like they got at Burger King. Well, let's say you're doing that. You're just doing your part. You heard the impassioned speech from Greta Thunberg, and you're just trying to do something small. Maybe a stupid and futile gesture, but that said, you're trying to do the right thing. And you are just met with resistance the whole way. We have a story out of New York of a guy up in the Bronx at a Burger King rode his bicycle to the drive-thru window there at the BK, but he was told he couldn't pick up his food order on a bike. So what did he do? I mean, what did they want him to do? He took the order on a bike. They have a camera. They can see you're on a bicycle. Did they tell them, sir, we can't take your order on the bike? No, they took his order on the bike. And he rides up to pick up his food. I don't know if there's a 2-window situation. You go to the speaker box, you order your Impossible Whopper, and then you roll up to where you pay. Well, he rolls up on a bicycle. And they say, sir, you can't pay on a bike. You can't pick up your food. We will not give you this food if you're on a bike. And you're like, hey, look, I'm just trying to cut down on my fossil fuel use and get my Impossible Whopper and go home. Well, the man argued, as I would have argued too. He argued with the 19-year-old worker before then taking it upon himself to smash the drive-thru with a chain. Police shared surveillance video of the suspect sliding open the drive-thru window and appearing to yell at the teen worker. He then closes the window and smashes it before fleeing the scene. No one was injured. Police have offered a $2,500 reward for information on the man who was wanted for criminal mischief. Let this one go. This guy was just trying to get his burger. He was just trying to give money to the Burger King, and he was on a bike. See, this is the kind of stuff. This is way more important. This is the hill I would die on, not the cybersecurity training. I'd take the webinar, but man, let me give you your money regardless of my mode of transportation. All right, coming up more on Trump and impeachment.
KWAM, your news and information station with CBS News updates every hour on the hour. KWAM Memphis.
This is CBS News on the hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Jim Shenevey. President Trump is hoping to nip all that impeachment talk in the bud.
I'm Stephen Portnoy with the president in New York. Under mounting pressure, he tweets he'll tomorrow be releasing the complete unredacted transcript of his July call with Ukraine's president. Mr. Trump insists that transcript will show it was a very friendly and totally appropriate call. He happens to be meeting here tomorrow with Volodymyr Zelensky, who told an interviewer today he just wants the U.S. to always support Ukraine. The president, who yesterday said he discussed corruption with Zelensky, now says he threatened to withhold military aid to Ukraine because he believed other European countries should have stepped up and offered their assistance.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer had been demanding the release of that transcript, but now he says that's not enough.
Simply to release the transcript is not going to come close to ending the need of the American public and the Congress to see what actually happened.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi reportedly will announce a formal impeachment inquiry this afternoon. The president used his UN speech this morning in an attempt to drum up international support for U.S. efforts to pressure Iran to drop its nuclear program. He also talked about immigration control.
Many of the countries here today are coping with the challenges of uncontrolled migration. Each of you has the absolute right to protect your borders. And so, of course, does our country.
The Navy investigating a string of suicides involving sailors serving aboard the same aircraft carrier. CBS's Cammie McCormick.
There have been 4 suicides among sailors assigned to the aircraft carrier George H.W. Bush. 3 this month alone, and 2 of them in one day. None occurred on the carrier itself. This has prompted an investigation, but military officials tell the Navy Times they have not linked the deaths.
Remember that car-carrying cargo ship that capsized off the coast of Georgia earlier this month? Well, it's now turning into an environmental problem. CBS's Jim Krasula.
Oil from an overturned cargo ship near Brunswick, Georgia, has reached parts of the state's shoreline, leaving a sheen in marshes on St. Simon's Island and oiled debris on nearby beaches. The South Korean-flagged Golden Ray was carrying 4,200 vehicles when it capsized in St. Simon's Sound September 8th. The ship's pilot and 23 crew members were all safely rescued, including 4 men who were trapped for 36 hours. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
An hour ahead of the close, the Dow down 166 points, or 0.6%. The Nasdaq off 118, and the S&P is down 26 points. This is CBS News.
The CBS World News Roundup Late Edition with Jim Chenovy.
President Trump held a series of meetings today on the border wall.
Every weeknight on the CBS Radio Network.
The U.S. is in debt, and the IRS is getting more aggressive, using private agencies to track you down, seize your assets, and even start the process of taking away your passport. Dealing directly with the IRS can be a daunting experience. Oxford Tax Partners has the experience and the reputation at substantially lowering your IRS debt, or even having it forgiven. Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative. If you qualify, it will stop the IRS collection agencies from coming after you. Let the experts at Oxford Tax Partners get you protected once and for all. Call Oxford Tax now at 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed your taxes in past years, with one phone call, you may be on your way to having your taxes forgiven or substantially reduced. Find out more. Call the tax experts at Oxford Tax Partners for a free consultation now at 800-575-1919. 800-575-1919. That's 800-575-1919.
Not since Monty Python have we seen so many varieties of that favorite canned meat product, Spam.
Egg, bacon, sausage, and spam. Spam, bacon, sausage, and spam. Spam, egg, spam, bacon, and spam.
Diane King Hall reports.
Yesterday, Hormel Foods announced the release of pumpkin spice Spam. The limited edition product was sold online and sold out in just 7 hours. Pumpkin spice Spam is made of a blend of cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. Now, if you missed out, you can still buy Spam's 15 other varieties on its website and through other retailers.
New study on America's eating habits shows very little improvement over the past 16 years. The data from the government health surveys dating back to 1999 involving nearly 44,000 adults shows that U.S. adults did cut down on some of the added sugars and ate more whole grains, but saturated fat intake increased by almost to 12% of total calories. Jim Chenovy, CBS News.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. With a call to National Tax Helpline, you can stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs, you may qualify for substantial savings. So get the help you need. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, call now for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Tax Helpline, 800-805-1055. That's 800-805-1055 for free information. 800-805-1055. That's 800-805-1055.
Jake, where'd you get those boots?
But he's got meat between his ears.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, KWAM, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
All right, welcome back to the Nation of Jake on The Voice, FM 107.9, AM 990, online, KWAMTheVoice.com. YouTube, Nation of Jake. Facebook and Twitter at Nation of Jake. Good old Instagram as well. This September 24th. And look, we got a lot of breaking news happening with regards to this impeachment stuff. And this is kind of fun. Midday is usually not known to be a big breaking news hour. But we've got Nancy Pelosi said she's going to call a meeting with her caucus, the Democrat caucus, 235 members strong. At least 170 of them are in favor of impeaching Donald Trump. Now, this is a high-risk kind of deal. So, as Nancy Pelosi is addressing her upcoming meeting in which she suggests Democrats are going to announce an impeachment inquiry today, we have her talking about it in advance of this meeting, and we also have Donald Trump saying that he is going to release the transcripts of this call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and he claims there's no quid pro quo. He's going to put it out there unredacted and just let everybody see what was said on that call. You still have a whistleblower complaint that says he made an inappropriate promise to President Zelensky of the Ukraine regarding some financial aid, some military aid, some $400 billion, $391 million to be exact. And I guess that the understanding was they would not get the aid if they did not investigate Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden's involvement in some business dealings that had something to do with the Ukrainian government. Joe Biden has been on tape saying things like, I was going to give him $1 billion, and you said you're not getting it unless you fire this prosecutor, because I guess this prosecutor was hot on the tail of Hunter Biden. And so that there was no kind of resolution to that. That's still out there. So you've got these dueling stories of quid pro quo, one side accusing the other of quid pro quo dealings with the Ukrainian government. Now you have the Democrats saying, hey, this is it. This is Donald Trump acting inappropriately, impeachable offense. So we had Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, just moments ago.
So this isn't about politics. If we have to honor our oath of office to support and defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic, that's what we'll have to do. But we have to have the facts. That's why I've said to people, as soon as we have the facts, we're ready. Now we have the facts, we're ready for later today.
Do you have the facts, though? Do you have the facts? You won't have the facts till tomorrow because you won't have the transcript until tomorrow. And there are people saying that, Donald Trump says he's going to release the transcript, the full unredacted phone call with President Zelensky of the Ukraine. And now they're saying, well, that's a bad idea. He shouldn't do that. People who just an hour ago were saying he must release the transcript are now saying, this is a bad move because now he can't speak candidly with any other leaders of foreign countries, and this will hurt the presidency. And you're like, wait a second. You were just saying you must release the transcript. Now he's ready to, which kind of undercuts this whole impeachment inquiry, because if he's willing to release it, then what could possibly be there? And instead they're saying, no. They need to keep the actual transcript under wraps, but they still need to release this whistleblower complaint. Now, mind you, the whistleblower has no direct knowledge of the phone call, was not on the phone call. So think about what now is being said and where the goalposts are being moved. No, don't release the transcript Because if there's nothing there, then we have no real reason to impeach, because Pelosi's just saying it's not political. If this is the smoking gun and we need to defend the Constitution, you see what I'm getting at? Yeah, this is all political, Mrs. Pelosi. This is all political, Speaker Pelosi. There is no, we are compelled to do this because we have the facts, because you don't have the facts yet. You don't have the facts, but that never stopped anybody from doing anything political. All right, so Donald Trump is at the UN. He's fending off all these different issues, the one being the Ukrainian phone call and these accusations of a quid pro quo that he tried to meddle in an election by having the Ukrainians reopen an investigation into his political rival, Joe Biden. And what's that say? A lot of these Democrats want Joe Biden to just go away. Like, well, and they just say, yeah, hey, Joe Biden, what were you doing over there in the Ukraine, getting prosecutors fired in a quid pro quo fashion? What were you doing? Does anybody care what Joe Biden was doing while Hunter Biden was doing cocaine? I don't know. But so I don't know if anybody cares about that. That said, you've also got at the UN the high drama yesterday of young Miss Greta Thunberg, a Swedish teenager who addressed the UN Assembly, and she did so forcefully.